Hey! Hello everybody and welcome back to Selena's Home Entertainment, where I, Selena, entertain you. Today's video is, obviously, if you can't tell by the title of the video, a video I'm very excited for. So if you don't know, I have this little notebook. I don't know if you can see it. It's my little drawing ideas notebook, and I'm going to be writing them all in here instead of just like everywhere or on my notes app on my phone. Not only will it give me less time on my phone, I have so far 8 pages filled. They chose page 2. It's not marked out. I didn't know how thin this paper was until I highlighted it, and then I was like, oh, it's really thin. And dwarf planets were chosen, and I'm very excited to talk to you about this. This is kind of like part 1, the process, my thought process. I feel like I don't show that enough. I basically do that like off camera, and I get really like self-conscious on how my process works with drawing series in general. Before I tell you the process, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're notified whenever I post new videos. So please stick around if you are new. I promise this is a very cool community. So part 1, the process. Okay, I've never really talked about my process, and I'm still kind of trying to learn how my process works in general. But one of the first things I do is I just grab a random notebook, just like a regular old notebook. You can do this yourself at home. Don't be scared of writing your ideas in a little silly notebook, okay? Anyways, so this is what I have so far. So obviously I had to look on NASA.com to look up how many dwarf planets there are that are like basically dwarf planets. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 dwarf planets in our solar system, or what they call the Kuiper belt, which I think is a cute little town that I'm gonna call that they live in, okay? Kuiper belt, it's a small town, get it? And obviously the main contributors, or the main attributes that each of them will most likely have is 1, that they're small. No matter how big they are small. And second of all, they are extremely cold. A lot of them have the same-esque color scheme. So I'm trying to write down all the key things that kind of interest me. I do want all my planets to be like aliens, of course. 1 eyes, little antennas. I want the alien-esque. I don't want them to be demons. They are going to be aliens in my world. Well, not super powerful. They all have powers, in a way. Now, do I show it through weapons or through just like actual like powers? That's the real struggle I have with. And obviously, I had to do some research because I personally couldn't think of interesting ice powers other than like the normal ice powers that you normally see, and I don't want to like copy from other ice like characters because they're unique in their own way, and I want my alien girlies to be unique in their own way. So what I have gathered and processed, now this can change. This is only day 1 of really writing down what my ideas are, what I can see. Pluto's power is ice breath. I'm not really set on this power for Pluto necessarily. I do want to research a bit more about Pluto. Also the real struggle with this series in general is, unfortunately, like my moon series, it ranges from, oh my god, there's so much information, to it looks like this and it does this and it's cold, and I was like, got it. Haumea, Haumea. Power is ice healing. I thought that was super cool, by the way, if you have ice powers and you can just heal. And then we have Make's power, which is, at first I was gonna do ice storm creation, but then I remember they're the second brightest. They have like an interesting red-brown tone compared to everybody else, so I thought they would have a cool ice beam. Eris, E-R-I-S, power is ice shield. She's the largest, and she has like this really cool gray with like a hint of red tones to her. And honestly, again, this is one of the dwarf planets that did not have as much information I was hoping for. Just something a little bit more that I could work with. Sarah's Power is ice waves. Concrete, nothing is set in stone for me personally, and I want you, if you're an artist or a new artist, to take that process and really write down your ideas. Like, if you don't understand a word from a planet, or you don't understand a certain word that's attributed to something, look it up. Or figure out your own reasoning, figure out your own way of somehow connecting to that. And this is all the process that I usually do. And then eventually I will come up with a kind of a pre-sketch. Have fun with learning the process of a character. This could be really fun if you like to do fan art for like characters. Like, really, like, don't look at one resource. If you look at one resource so long, you're gonna get stuck, and nobody likes getting stuck, because then that stuck and then art block is just gonna come on in and be like, and knock on your door. And I don't want that, especially during this time where my mental health is kind of like lower, on the lower end. It'll get back up eventually. It's just that kind of era right now. That is the process. This is only part one of the process. Obviously, this will be filmed over a multitude of days. I'm going to remember to film my clip studio art anytime I do anything. Okay? I will, I promise. I want to be a better art YouTuber, at least. When it comes to that, I want to be better. On to the next part. I don't know how to transition still. I don't know how to do it. Hello, and as you can tell, part 2. Pinterest boards to the Pinterest, and you're gonna see me on the webcam. Okay, so obviously this is my Pinterest board. Yes, look at it. I have so much things. So first we are going to create a board. The board is going to be named, let's do Dwarf Planets. Okay. So what I'd like to do is, I have a bunch of drawing pins, which you can see. I have over 5,000 pins saved. So we got a lot, and I have so much stuff saved already. So what I'm gonna do is kind of look over my characteristics for a certain character and see what I like. This like cool fucking knight. I'm also going to put this in there as well. I just got to find it. And then what I can easily do, you can always just add pins, and then it'll say organize. Boop, 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 boop. And we'll create a section, and the glyphs are for and you want to have you want a lot of pins. Honestly, if you want to create your own OCs and everything like that, I highly recommend you just getting a bunch of pins. And usually when I find things I really like in an alien, I try to think, okay, what would be best for this OC? Oh no, I've opened too many. And this is what I do. I basically just like go through things. This is AI. Ugh. Anyways, and then I'm going to put that in there. Oh, that's cute. And obviously we'll organize it. We'll get it nice and clean. I like to organize everything. What is this? I love this photo so much. Okay, look at it. Okay, so we're gonna do this for Pluto. And sometimes adding a section and then going in there, and then like sometimes they'll have like more ideas. Yeah, it kind of helps. Hikey. I really do like when Pinterest does that, because it kind of helps me figure out, okay, like what else are they thinking that I want into drawing as well. So then I have these poses as like on lock just in case, so like this doesn't have to take 300 years again, or like the different makeup looks and the hair and stuff like that, all that stuff, etc. So yeah, that's it. I think I have a pretty decent, like all of them should have double digits. I say this now. I feel like I feel pretty good at getting an idea. This took me 30 minutes. I'm excited to draw these now. Obviously you'll see time lapses, which is part 3 is sketching. Or part 3, a character name here. Or something like that. I'll do something like that. But yes, this was part 2. And now we are on to planet Pluto, aka Pluto. Her lovely ice power is, of course, ice magic. You know, think of freaking Elsa, you know? Think of her. She's kind of cool. She's kind of badass. But also, she has very hard time settling into a town. If you don't know, Pluto is notorious for going back and forth to becoming a dwarf planet to a regular planet, because I don't know, I haven't really researched that part on why it keeps going back and forth, but yeah, it keeps going back and forth. So I thought it would be a cool personality kind of twist on, she doesn't really get close to people. She is this cool ice wizard, magician, whatever you want to say. I don't really know what you would go to an ice wizard for, but she is the leader of the dwarf planets, and she becomes very attached to the other dwarf planet characters, but knowing full well that she could move on to the other town just in a blink of an eye, because she has to listen to her superiors, of course, which is our galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy. But the Kuiper Belt is just a small little town. So she will listen to whoever, you know, she says she needs to. I had really a lot of fun with her in general because, one, she was the first character I drew. I knew I wanted to draw Pluto first out of all the dwarf planets just to get a good solid understanding of what I wanted. So each character has a cape, obviously, glitter, and really represents their planet as much as I can while also representing icy elements. I didn't want to just do a plain gray kind of color palette like a lot of these planets have. I wanted to add a bit of color and a bit of icy stuff because I still want them to represent their powers in some way. So Pluto's way of representing powers is through her fingers. She has frostbite on her fingers. When you get into cold or you get into snow or whatever, you can accumulate frostbite, and Pluto is not immune to that. The more ice power she uses, the more frostbite she most likely will get, and over time her skin gets used to it because of course Pluto is a very cold planet in general, but she's not as cold-hearted as you think, and she just was really fun. And obviously with each character you'll see kind of the same things but trying different ways of doing things. So like each of their hair is kind of like, there's a standout color in basically kind of in all of the dwarf planets, and I try to make sure that was their hair, so to make it stand out a bit more and to make the character not so plain looking. I don't know if I did that correctly, but I did, and I had fun making Pluto. She seems like a cool superhero, villainous ice girl, and I don't really know what her personality other than that is. She doesn't really get close to people. She wants to, but she's too afraid that she would have to leave again and then leave her whole life behind her again and then come back and then go back and then come back. And I think that's very interesting, but other than that, that's all I had for Pluto, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the drawing if there is any left. But yeah. Hello. Hi. Next up is Aome. And fun little factoid, I will try my best to remember what I've said about each of these characters, as my audio not only got corrupted, but two, I don't know where I put the paper for the lore of these characters from, and I can't exactly remember everything I said about these characters, so bear with me, folks. Haume is the healer of the group. You go to Huame to get healed, and she has cool ice gloves. I wanted to show a cool power or a cool way to show ice healing because I thought, one, it was a very cool power to have if you are a healer and you have ice healing. I think that's kind of interesting, but also ice healing through ice gloves I thought was super cool and very unique to this character and this character alone. Now, I try to make her shape like the planet, but I definitely could have added some more differentiating shapes because Haume is a very interesting shaped dwarf planet, so I could definitely have done better, but that is for future me to worry about, which is right now. But Haume is probably one of the more kinder of dwarf planets you'll meet. Again, she's a healer. She has a kind heart. While yes, she is cold of touch and in the heart, she tries to be as kind as possible. This is her town, of course, Cupid or Belt. She is the healer, so if you come in hurt, she will heal you free of charge probably because, I don't know, she's got a kind heart. What can I say? I had fun with this. I've never really drawn like knight's gloves, so I feel like this was a fun challenge for me personally, as it's something out of my wheelhouse I would do. I didn't know what to do for hair, so I kind of did my basic go-to hair that I usually always do. I just kind of alienified it, I guess I would say. But other than that, I'm kind of proud of this one. I really like the cape and I really like the pose and the gloves. Like overall, this whole photo is pretty solid and I think she really goes well with Pluto. And again, if you can tell a certain theme going on, there's a theme going on. And her eyes, of course, represent the planet, as well as every other alien you will see. Their eyes will represent the planet. I always think that's very cool when you do planet series, or when I do my planet series, is the one thing I do is their eyes will always look like their planet, and I think it kind of tests my cool drawing skills. But yeah, this is Haume. Next up is Eris, and I believe this little character design was probably my most like bold design, but also like my most hard design to show, and I definitely need to work on something more, or someone will let me know in the comments of like what I horribly did wrong. But overall, I do like this design. So Eris is, of course, another dwarf planet, and her power is shield. Her whole body becomes basically like Emma Frost. Think Emma Frost, like, but ice, okay? Emma Frost, but ice. And you get Eris. And she's a very quiet planet. She doesn't talk that much. She's a very much introverted kind of girl. She, of course, will protect anybody who lives in the Cupid or Belt with her body, as she is a shield. And I also think it was very interesting that I kind of made her cape look cool, so she can easily like make this like dramatic change off of like taking off the cape, and she turns into like icy stone thing. And I tried to show that with her skin. I don't know what I did necessarily wrong or right. It still looks cool, don't get me wrong. It is something out of my comfort zone I have not done, so I definitely think I could have done more. Maybe I should have made her skin a bit more see-through rather than like full transparency, to kind of give the illusion of ice, because ice is kind of reflective. But again, I did try to find different pens and stuff, and nothing was like working for me personally. And please ignore me and my shoe not blending at all. But I thought the pose was super interesting, and overall, I do love the character design. I think she looks really cool. Her planet is probably like the most kind of interesting, other than the next planet we'll talk about. Just because if you actually look at the planet photos, it's like full of ice, and I thought that was like very cool to incorporate that with her power in general. So I think it's a overall very cool design, and I think she would be very cool if like you see her in the corner in a snowstorm and you just see her coolly tail cape coming over to you and protecting you, or Hamui, so Hamui can heal you. You know, I have a feeling she's just very quiet. She's very shy and introverted, and she stays in her own lane, basically. That's all the drawing I had, or the ideas I believe I had for Miss Eris. Oh my god. Next up is Ceres. I think that's how you say the planet name. Now, should I have looked up how to say the planet names? Absolutely. Did I? Absolutely not. And so here we are with the chillest of the dwarf planets. She is very chill. She has a cool ice surfboard, and she makes ice waves, okay? I thought that was a cool representation, not only to show she makes waves, but as well as she has a surfboard, and she's kind of cool, and she's kind of like this interesting, chill dwarf planet who helps when they can, but really are just shredding the ice waves out there on her planet, because, I mean, what else are you gonna do on a small planet? You don't got much, honestly. I think the most difficult thing with this photo, and you can kind of tell with this drawing, is the pose angle. I usually go with my standard like 3 angles, so like this one was definitely different, and I wanted to show Ceres was a strong planet in general, but the pose just kept looking off, so I did have to, you know, use the pose reference to help me figure out where this freaking arm goes. And I definitely need to work on learning how to draw like feet and legs a bit better. I feel like I'm finally getting my top half better. It's the bottom half where I'm like, okay, I'm right there, but my brain doesn't like drawing feet, which is like not a big issue, okay? Feet are weird. I'm gonna be honest, as an artist, when you're learning how to draw certain body parts, the way feet are having to be drawn is sometimes a little odd and sometimes a little weird, and I don't like it. So that's why a lot of times you see them wearing boots, okay? Because I don't want to draw toes. Look at me. I'm not drawing toes. That's the last thing I'm gonna do. Okay? I can draw fingers, I can draw ears, I can draw weird body parts. Feet are like the last thing on my list. Anyways, Ceres was fun. I think the surfboard looks super cool and super awesome. I do wish I didn't use such harsh line art and kind of made it a little bit more white so it looks actually like ice and not such like harsh lines. I feel like it would have done better with contrast wise. But overall, I'm really proud of this. I could have definitely done something more unique with the hair, but I like it overall because it looks like a galaxy. Overall, I'm happy with this design, and I hope you are happy with, well, you know what? The drawing's already done, so I hope you're happy with it. And last, but certainly not least, is Miss Make, which I think is the most interesting of the ice planets because it is red. And I think that is super interesting and kind of helps give me a different color palette to work with while trying to also incorporate the other colors I've had in the other characters to make sure she at least looks somewhat like she belongs in the group. Now, would she magically turn evil? Let's not get there. I don't know, maybe, who knows? Her magical ice power is an ice beam like Cyclops. Yes, I might have got inspiration from Marvel Comics. Do I know why? No. I just was in my comic book mood while also trying to draw these planets, and I said, say less. That makes sense to me. I think overall I did really good. The only thing I'm not the biggest fan that I did was her skin tone. I think it looks too humanoid and not enough planet alien-like. If I wanted to, I could try and go back and redo the skin color, but obviously it's over now. Everything's merged. I don't really like to separate layers when I'm finished, and most of the time it's all together, so yeah, I can't really go back and fix it without like ruining everything else. So I am kind of impressed with myself personally that it looks really cool. I do wish I did more with the glasses as well, but overall it looks like a really cohesive look. I really love the cape. She does look like she's part of the desert as well, which is really interesting, even though she has ice powers. So I try to add the ice like colors without like overly adding it, because I think it might be a little bit too much like the other planets and not enough of make. And I really do like the hair. I think it's very cool, very cute, and very alien-like. Overall, this character design is pretty solid. I know there are some things I need to work on just in body proportions and legs and stuff like that. But overall, I do think this character design was one of my favorites to make because it was so unique and different from the other planets that I thought. And like I said, is Make truly part of the group? Is she evil? I don't really know. Some of these planets, like I've said previously, had like zero information. So I'm going off like with a lot, and I mistakenly threw away the paper. So here we are. And I think she's just a very outgoing personality. Her and Pluto probably get along. You know, she's just a chill gal. I don't know. Enjoy the design. Anyways, I appreciate you guys watching. This is such a fun video, and I've already filled out 2 more pages of this, so I think I'm gonna just continue this series in general, and it will help me get more ideas out there. It'll help me get more drawing series out there. This was so much fun, and if you're a new artist watching this being like, I don't know if I could do this, you can, because in the end, as long as you're having fun and doing fun things with your characters, who cares what anybody else says? That's what I say. And I hope you guys are having fun. I hope you guys are excited as I am, as I'm trying to bring out more art series for you guys to watch and do. I don't know, I'm very proud. While yes, some of them sure could be fixed, some of them probably need some fine tuning. In the end, I still had fun with them, and I look at them very proud, very like, oh my god, I drew that based off like a small little planet in a far distant world called Jupiter. And now it's in my OC world. It's called Jupiter Town, and all these creatures live in it who are very ice-ridden kind of creatures and stuff like that. Again, if you have any ideas, you can give them to me down in the comments down below, especially if you are a galaxy nerd. I love space. I think space is so interesting. So I was kind of heavy doing this, to be honest. It's been on my brain. I do wish I had more to say about them, so I might have to do maybe less characters and more just thinking about the characters and the character description, what each character has, to kind of give a bit more of an interesting video. And usually I'm pretty good at like telling you the lore about my characters, but for some reason this time I was like, I don't know, they just have cool ice powers, and I feel like that's good enough for this video. But maybe next time with like an OC challenge, and now that I have a lot more now, I might be able to do that. Thanks guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this series, and I hope you continue to watch my art videos. I'm so glad you guys are sitting here and watching me yap and yammer along, and I will see you guys all in the next universe. Bye!